Merry Meet, and welcome to the daily reading for all signs for today, the 4th of December, 2024. This is Ariel, and today I am reading with this Tarot del Romero, and I'm going to purify with this Florida water. I put some in a little spray bottle to make it easier on me. Let's see what's in the cards for everybody today. We're starting out with this 8 of Cups, followed by a 5 of Cups, and then we have, what is this one? Oh, Ace of Wands. I'm like, what the heck? I don't know what he's holding there. It's a wand. Okay, so the 8 of Cups is talking about your intuitive faculties, listening to that inner voice within you. Now, the 5 of Cups is talking about emotional and internal conflict. And this is very interesting because I was just going through this the other day when I realized that when I was going through my inner conflict, I was not tuning in on my inner guidance. I was just listening to the churn inside. You know, I wasn't allowing myself to step back from what I thought I was feeling and listen to that inner guidance, because that inner guidance is always going to find a way out, of that and into your true happiness, which is the will of the universe for you. The infinite wants us to be happy. And so that's why we have that guide. It's like Ariadne's thread through the labyrinth, you know, if any of you that know that myth, that Greek myth of the Minotaur, it's similar. With that inner voice is always helping us out of this labyrinth of conflict. And remember that internal conflict eventually becomes external conflict. So it's great to get it taken care of while it's on the internal. And it's saying here that if you are listening to that inner guidance, it's going to tell you that the way out of this is not just by saying, oh, it's going to be all right. It's by getting busy doing something that you love, doing something productive, something that's going to make a difference to you. It may not be what everybody else thinks you should be doing necessarily, but it's what you know you need to be doing. It's what you know you love. So stop putting projects on hold. Stop putting off your favorite activities and fretting instead. It's saying to turn your back on this for now and move into those actions in the world that are something that are, you know, that is involved with your love, in the things that you love in life. Not necessarily just doing things that are a chore, although that might be part of it. But this Ace of Wands doesn't have to do with chores. It has to do with creativity and inspiration. Okay, we've got a Page of Cups, which is good news. We've got a 5 of Coins, which is more conflict. And then we've got the Knight of Swords, which is where I think a lot of the conflict likes to stay active. A lot of us are under this bizarre assumption that if we just abandon the conflict and go for what we love, that somehow we're being disloyal to the people that are going through stuff, and that somehow we are being irresponsible. And the universe doesn't support that idea. The universe is very clear that you've been given all the guidance and help that you could ever need, but that if we are focusing on what's not working in our lives, if we're focusing on expecting the worst, then we are stuck in that. We're stuck in that. We can't see beyond it until we decide to. And part of what the issue is for many of us is not that we don't want to see beyond it and move beyond it. It's just that we are so easily swayed by the opinions of others. And it's not just their opinions. It's they make an enticing case for staying stuck many times. And the reading isn't about them. The reading is about us not being hooked by other people, not being hooked into their drama, not being helped into conflict, not playing weird loyalty games with people like, oh, okay, I won't get better. That way you'll love me or whatever. That way I'm not being disloyal to you. That's nonsense. And that's not what the universe is going to support. What the universe does support is you moving within and seeing that there is truth. And this is not it. The conflict that you're experiencing is the conflict that you're experiencing both on the internal and external planes is not truth, is not the universe's will for you. And, you know, the idea of being upset all the time is a vast conspiracy. It really is. The powers that be that want to control everything and everyone, whether they realize it or not, but I think a lot of them do, they really thrive on making sure that we're upset, making sure that we're angry, making sure that we're afraid. And if you say no to that, and you just listen to that still small voice within you, you are raised above all of it, and it doesn't touch you. None of that touches you anymore. And that's the ultimate in, I guess, if you wanted to be a revolutionary, it's not about fighting. It's about removing yourself from it. That is a real revolution, is removing yourself from the conflict, because the choices that the world gives us are, do you want something bad or do you want something else that's bad? Do you want something that's temporarily sort of going to feel a little better for a minute, or do you just want to stay stuck? I mean, which do you want? There's a smorgasbord of choices for you here, right? That's the world. And the spirit says that those choices aren't good enough for you. None of that's good enough for you. And if you can stop being tempted by that and listen instead to our wisdom here, this is your inner guide speaking. We're going to show you that you can bypass that altogether. And the way you do that is by doing what you love to do, by getting involved with your talents, by getting involved with all the gifts that you've been given, not by being distracted. Not by being distracted in getting in a fight with other people or an argument with people or with yourself. Not by playing, like I said earlier, bizarre loyalty games. Like, well, if I'm, I won't leave you. I'll stay stuck with you. You don't have to leave people and to unstick yourself. It's perfectly legitimate. I mean, sometimes you have to leave people. There's some people that are so toxic, you just have to say, okay, we can't be together. But most of our relationships, we don't have to just write them off. I mean, that's not the idea. But we don't need them to drag us into their quicksand either. We don't need us to be dragged under the water with them because they're flailing. We need instead to detach ourselves from those conflicts and realize that has nothing to do with us. And in fact, those conflicts, even though they look very personal to us, some of us are having financial conflict, some of us are having emotional conflict, some of us are having conflict with our health. It looks very personal. It looks like it has everything to do with us. But the message here is, no, it doesn't. That's not you. That's none of your business. Let us show you how you can remove yourself from those conflicts and get beyond them and get busy doing what you're here to do, not being pulled into the mire from all of the people in the world. Because that way what you're doing is helping them by setting an example. Otherwise, you're just part of the same problem as everybody else. And everybody's doing their best. It's not like these people that are hooking you are trying to do something bad necessarily. I mean, some of them might be, but most are not. Most are just trying to get from A to B and survive and get their lives lived with the least amount of pain, and they're doing their best. But you see, that's not good enough for you. It's not good enough for them either, but they are none of our business. What our business is ourselves. And the only way we can help other people is by living a good life ourselves. And yes, you can. Yes, you can live a good life in the midst of chaos. Yes, you can live a good life in the midst of conflict. And you can live a good life in the midst of other people wanting to drag you down. But you have to discipline your mind to listen to that still small voice within you, and to listen to it in the moment when you have a choice to make in regards to relationships with other people, or relationships with money, or relationships with your body, relationships with yourself, relationships in general. When you're having any kind of an encounter, rather than just like going by rote and doing what you've always done and getting the same results that you've always gotten, you're being prompted to say, let's just take a moment and ask. And even if you're not very good at it, the idea of asking first before you respond or before you react to something starts that ball rolling, so that you have determined that you want an open communication with that inner guidance, rather than just having more of the same, and having the more of the same seem to get worse and worse. It's saying, let's just cut that off right now, and just as a point of practice at every moment, what we want is to say, I don't know, but I'm going to ask. And it's not that you're necessarily always going to feel like you've got the greatest answer, or that you've gotten an answer at all, but the asking is starting the ball rolling in the right direction, and you will get those answers. And they may not come always in the moment, but they may come later, and things just start working out for you better because you're looking to your source for answers rather than looking to the chaos of the world. So it's a very intense reading in many ways, because many of us are going through some of these fears and conflicts and things like that. And the universe is saying, don't buy into that. Don't buy into that. Don't let it be the reason why you put your passions on the back burner. Don't do that. Don't listen to anybody else telling you that what you want isn't good enough or whatever. Listen to your heart. Your heart will not lie to you, and you go for what you want to go for, regardless of what you see happening, or regardless of what anybody tells you. You know better by listening to that inner voice, and you will do it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. We'll see everybody for another daily reading tomorrow. Until then, blessed be.